Okay, well, welcome. Welcome to everybody who's listening or watching. Mm-hmm. I'm Johnny, my wife Ashley. These are our nieces,
yes.
Alexa and Alana. Mm-hmm. And they are here today to talk to us about life and Christianity. And so what is the topic for today? Ashley.
Topic for today, we are doing a series called Where is the Line? So the first thing is where's the line in movies. So obviously there's a lot of movies out there we can watch. A lot of movies out there we could not watch. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as Christians, where do we draw the line?
Okay.
So what do we watch? What's kind of over the line, like you shouldn't watch that? So,
okay.
Yeah. All right, so girls, how old are you?
I'm 17.
I'm 15.
All right,
okay.
You guys both go to public school?
Yeah.
So you're around a diverse group of people?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We are not in public school, we are at home.
So for my sister right now, what are your restrictions for watching movies or videos or TV? What is your restrictions at this moment?
Okay. For right now, we don't watch a ton of... We definitely don't watch rated R, but not a lot of PG-13 either. I don't think we've seen one in a long time. We don't watch as much TV anymore or anything as we used to when we were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
We
lot of...
actually do stuff now, so
Yeah. I guess a lot of, like, pure flicks Christian stuff.
or we just keep watching, like, Horton Hears the Who and Nemo. So.
Yeah.
Stuff we know is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it about, I know this sounds like kind of like a dumb question, but what is it about PG-13 movies that you are not allowed to watch?
There is a lot more cussing in PG-13 than there is PG or G. There's
Hopefully at least.
there's a lot of jokes and stuff.
Yeah, the jokes are kind of like, oh,
A little on edge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So language and then other inappropriate things like sexuality and all that has been a lot more prevalent in PG-13 movies.
Okay.
Yeah. Something that you said that I'm actually glad that you realized it now, because I feel like we haven't realized it until we were adults, is that thing of, like, why spend a ton of time watching TV when I could actually be doing stuff?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. We had for us, it was, we'd watch college football on Saturdays, and we'd spend all Saturday watching college football, and then we were done Saturday. We'd stay up till like 2 a.m. watching all the West Coast games, like California and all, and be like, these are awesome. And then it's like we spent all day on the couch watching college football, and we didn't get anything done. We didn't do any of these projects we wanted to. We didn't go anywhere. It was a beautiful day outside, and we stayed inside all day. And so we finish up and go, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
I feel gross.
Yeah.
We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
For us now, like with college football, it's like we may watch a game.
Yeah.
We'd rather just watch the highlights. That's what you're watching for anyways. When you're watching the game, you want to see the highlights.
Yeah.
So 10, 15 minutes, I can watch the highlights later that night. But we painted a room. We went somewhere out with the kids or whatever. But
And plus, too, because it's like, where does it get you? Like, okay, well, with football, well, I know this guy's stats. Like, that's great.
yeah, you're following a 20-year-old guy. Your life depends on this 20-year-old, 18-year-old kid, and you're going,
And if you can catch the ball or not.
yeah, I have more important things to do. This is a game. This is entertainment.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got other things to do.
Yeah.
So, but
All
yeah.
right, so growing up, what were the rules in the Ramos household for you?
Well, we didn't watch rated R.
Yeah.
But I think PG-13 was just kind of, I think it just depended on the movie. There wasn't any like set rules. You can watch this, don't watch this. But rated R definitely was, no, we're not doing that. We had like one rated R movie, but that was it.
Yeah.
And of course, if it had any nudity or anything, it ain't coming in the house.
Yeah.
So that was kind of it. Cartoons and everything didn't matter. Oh, it's cartoons, animated. Have fun, enjoy. It didn't matter, and that was about it.
They could be doing spells in the cartoon. And
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, sometimes mom or dad might kind of say something. Oh, they're doing spells. That's interesting. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I would just keep watching. Just
I would call that interesting, but
yeah. There's a lot of dark stuff I watched, and now I'm like, why did I watch that?
Yeah.
But it was just, it's just cartoons. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
like Cartoon Network. We used to watch a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, and then Mother come and she's like, "What is this? This is horrible."
I don't know.
Let's watch something
I
else
have no
now.
idea. Yeah. So, and for the Gunter household,
Gunter
baby,
household
what
growing
was,
up.
what was it for you?
There were not very many restrictions. I mean, I remember watching some movies that were kind of notorious for having some inappropriate scenes in there. It was, we're going to watch the movie, but okay, you need to close your eyes. You need to look away, go get some food, do something. And okay, it's safe. You can come back.
Yeah.
But I don't remember there being a big push for, okay, that has too much language or this has too much violence. It's almost like the nudity or sex scenes. Those were like, don't watch those. But I don't remember a big push against language or violence. Maybe it was this thing, I don't remember it. But so there really was just a lot of, sure, go ahead and watch it. Or it's the TV version, so it shouldn't be quite as bad.
Edited for TV version.
Yeah, and yes, and then we made the mistake a couple of times of buying those movies, thinking like, oh, we saw it on TV.
We
and
saw
then
it when we were
like,
a kid, and it
Yeah.
was awesome. And now we're watching it unedited, and we're going,
like,
we're going to go turn
Oh,
this off now and just throw it away.
Yeah,
This is
like,
a
we're not watching
horrible
this.
movie.
yeah, so that was kind of life growing up. But yeah, now like for our kids, we're pretty strict.
Well,
with
right
what they
now
watch.
we have 4 kids. Oldest is 7.
Yeah.
Youngest is 1. So we watch a lot of cartoons.
a lot of
sports.
Christian movies.
Yes, a lot of Christian movies, but it's still going, wow, there's a lot of junk that
Yeah.
they put on there. And sometimes we have to explain some of the commercials going,
Yeah.
no, this is what they're saying here.
Yeah.
They're lying.
Yeah.
This is not how the world really works.
So for like
so,
status
okay.
quo for you guys at school, like what is the kind of consensus as far as what do people watch? Like standard wise.
For like our friends and stuff.
Well, I mean,
How does it feel at school about movies and everything? Is there a
whatever-
standard, or is it the guys are going to other guys, you need to watch this movie?
Yeah, whatever's the big
It's the
Netflix series.
trend, then like,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Yeah, if
let's
it's
all
trendy,
go watch it.
everybody's
Yeah.
gonna watch it. Like,
Okay.
Doesn't really matter what's it about.
the
Yeah.
other thing I didn't think about, they have all the streaming services that we didn't have that in high school.
No, we didn't.
So-
Yeah, it's
It
a lot
was-
easier for us to watch stuff.
We went to Blockbuster
That's stuff.
and rented the movie.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. There wasn't that. The instant access to everything was really just starting to
Yeah.
come up. Our parents didn't understand it, so. But you either had to go onto the internet. There was no streaming, so you either had to go on the internet, or you had to physically have the movie in hand
yeah.
for what you were gonna watch. Or
And it was tough at Blockbuster. You had to just like walk in, figure out
Man.
what they had, walk through the
you'd
whole
spend
store.
like 2 hours at Blockbuster
Yeah.
just figuring out what you
trying to
wanted
find
to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's the same thing. Like scrolling through next.
The good part was you could go to old movies,
Yeah.
and they'd still be there. Like now we're like, hey, go watch this old movie. How?
It's nowhere.
You
Yeah,
can't
just
find
the
it
newest
anywhere.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So it's
All right,
really
so
interesting.
schools they don't care, just whatever.
No.
Whatever's trending, whatever's floating around on Instagram or social media and whatnot, and
Yeah.
you go home, find it on Netflix, and watch every season
Yeah,
in like 2 days, and that's that.
Yeah.
Binge
Yeah.
watch. We weren't able to binge watch because you couldn't. I mean, unless you had a long movie, but just hitting next episode, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
wasn't like a lot of binge watching for us
It
because
was-
you really couldn't.
yeah.
I mean, you could turn on the TV and watch all day, but eventually something came on, and you're like, I don't want to watch this.
unless you had a Star Wars day where you just like watched all the Star Wars
Star Wars.
movies or all like that.
Never did that.
I remember for a while there was like we watched a couple Lord of the Rings movies and it was just like
These are so.
these are so long. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so culture basically says whatever. Now here's kind of an interesting twist. Obviously, it's like you have as Christians we have one perspective, and even as like individual Christians we have our own perspective. What does the church say about it, or is it
What are just Christians?
silent? Yeah.
Church, I don't think.
The church really don't talk about it too much. Like, they're just like, read the Bible, follow Jesus.
I don't specifically remember anything being
Yeah.
like, you need to be careful about what you watch and whatnot.
Like, be careful of your eyes and ears. Like,
Yeah.
No, I remember many times churches giving you tickets to go to the movie theater. Like I know for our parents, it was like, you don't even go to the movie theater. That's a place of sin. And then it became, wow, that's new. Both the girls were just like, what? Why would they do that?
Have you not heard that before?
No.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to dance. Many of them would not go to like a public swimming pool. Anything.
My great grandfather.
Yeah.
I remember. I'm pretty sure it was at the movie theaters, but yeah, his daughters weren't allowed to go, and they were so afraid that like the Lord was going to come back whenever they were at the movie theater, and there's something right along those lines. But yeah.
Yeah, and so the church was very strict on it, and that's loosened up as it's gone.
Yeah.
But now the question is,
It went from one extreme to another, where it's like that's
now,
dangerous.
do whatever you want.
I mean, the past churches that we've been to have taken us to movies as
Yeah.
church trips, and some of the
And
movies
I take it
were,
they're not just rated G, right?
But some was kind of shady, you know. It's like, why'd we watch this on a church trip? But,
Yeah.
Oh, those
Yeah.
church trips.
And that's something that we feel like we've seen is there's a lot of, in Christianity, at least in the United States, it's a lot of, hey, don't drink, don't do this, don't look at naked people.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But TV and movies, whatever you want. Oh, there's a nude scene in there? Oh, well, just shut your eyes real quick.
Don't look. Don't
Yeah.
look.
Just don't look.
Yeah.
You know, don't peek through. And you're like, they're so peeking through.
Like,
You
why
know.
would they not?
Or they're going to watch that movie when no one's around later
Yeah.
on and go, oh,
Yeah.
that's what was going on. And it just seems like there's no standards.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of, what?
I mean, thinking about it's like almost like movies and everything is different, you know, and media is different.
Like they get a pass.
Because like growing up, it's like, yeah, we were at church every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday. I mean, you were always there. There was nothing, unless there was some big secret, there was nothing like immoral going on in my household. You know, it was, hey, read your Bible, pray. And then, yeah, with movies, it was just a little bit more of a kind of a lackadaisical, like, whatever.
Oh, you're going to go watch that new scary movie? Awesome, let's go together. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Why would we go watch, you know?
I watched so many scary movies in high school. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like...
I wimped out when I watched like one and I was like 10 minutes in. I was like, see you guys,
Our
I
house
am
was, like,
out.
the house to watch scary movies in. So
Ugh.
we'd have movie night on Friday night, and it was go to movie gallery or Blockbuster and rent a movie. And if you had to have a parent with you to rent a certain movie, then because it had to be so they were 17 or 18 to rent
Our movies.
Our movies,
Yeah.
yeah. Which I mean, usually
So you're doing scary movies and R-rated movies.
there was a few that were like that.
Did they get you a pack of smokes on the way out too?
No, that was across the line.
Oh,
There's that line.
Yeah, there
yeah.
it is.
You can watch this stuff, but you better not be participating in anything.
And looking back, I think that I know the one time I remember having to have a mom there. It was not my mom that was there. It's like I can listen to hear like my mom listening to this lady like, Ashley, you're making me look terrible. No. I think it was a different friend. Her mom came and was like, okay, sure. And we went back to her house. And
Whatever
watched
you want.
it. Yeah, that's one of those movies. Like I still remember so many parts of that movie that I'm just like, oh, Lord, erase my memory or
Yeah.
something, please.
Yeah.
We've never seen a single horror movie. You're watching.
They are not worth it.
Yeah.
No.
They're dumb. Most of them are dumb. Like there's really not a good plot to it. It's
No.
just we're gonna try and scare you, and we're gonna cut off their arm.
And
So
they're
you're
going to
just
go
like,
upstairs, and you all know that the killer's upstairs, but they
Yeah.
still walk up the stairs.
They don't
Yeah.
actually think through things.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, come on. I'm gonna go down in the basement. Okay.
Great
you go to a
idea.
place with just get in your car and drive away.
Yeah.
It's like, nope.
Yeah.
You know.
But I think that kind of goes back to something we had talked about a little bit before, though, is, you know, for me, having seen all those movies and even just, you know, over the years, you hear things, you see things, you watch things, like, you don't realize how much that stuff gets stuck in your head. And there are things as an adult I have to tell myself, like, no, you don't need to go check behind the shower. No one is
Yeah.
back there, you know. But, you know, it's just like I saw too many
There's
movies.
nothing in the closet.
Yeah.
There, you don't have to check it before you go to bed.
Now, for us, you never know when, like, clothes may fall out of the closet. But that's
Yeah.
that's an
That's the most
organizational
dangerous
thing
thing in our closets. Yeah.
that we
But
need
but
to
your
work
mind
on.
plays tricks on you, and
Yeah.
and you're just like, golly. That's probably the worst part about those scary movies is you're just, later on, your mind brings up all those different things.
Yeah, and I mean, it does, and that has caused, I feel like, caused problems for years, because it's like, I saw all these things, and then it's like, oh, well, I didn't realize that those were, in essence, like, seeds that I planted in my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, you think you just watch it once and it falls out of your head, and I'm like, no, it's been, I mean, I'm 33.
Yep, 33, baby.
Yep, 33. I'm 33, and like there's so many things I can still remember, and there's so many things that I'm like, there's certain things that I will not do because I saw this happen in a scary movie, and nope, it's not happening. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like those seeds, they actually get in your head, and they're still there. They don't just fall out of your head.
So like you watch that movie, and like maybe for however long the movie lasted, it was like thrilling and exciting and whatnot, or you got good feelings from it, and then years later you're still
was just like
yeah, it's like you're home on the couch with your blanket up over your eyes, just
It's just it's not a fun feeling.
Yeah, and then now 15 years later, 10 years later, it's like, oh yeah, I still can tell you many things, and
as a grown adult, those thoughts still come in, and you're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
just stop it, leave me alone.
Yeah,
a ghost is not gonna mess with my toilet paper. You're just like,
I doubt it.
But if you're gonna go take something from somebody to really cause a problem, I mean, that would be the thing to take.
Or never mind. We'll leave that one alone. Yeah. All right, so we have set the stage for how we grew up and how kind of the feeling is today of how it many times in many churches, it's like movies and TV get a pass. Like it's like whatever you do, you figure out you figure out what's good for you. And so today we're really going to talk about that and go, okay, so not just how, because if you're in the church world, you're realizing that the church, it's like each church is coming up with, almost to some extent, their own standards for Christianity. And you're going, what in the world? Why are some churches going, hey, gays and homosexuality, come right in. We'll take you. We got a whole group for you right over here. We'll give you your own Sunday school class. And you're like, what? And then you have others where like, ladies, you're wearing jewelry and makeup? Don't even think about coming to church today. You are in sin. And you've got these big different extremes, but they're all Christian. Yeah. And you're going, I don't understand what's going on. And where is where is the standard?
Yep. Where is the line?
Do we have a standard? Is there a standard for how we should live as Christians? Does anybody know? Everybody's looking at me like, I feel like this is an easy answer. Oh, this is softball pitch. This is underhanded. This is one of those times with Jesus or the Bible. Those are. This is our not owner's manual. It is our manual. It's our standard. So what does it say? Of course, Jesus didn't. And these prophets and these men that wrote this book by the inspiration of the Holy Spirit didn't have movies.
No. So there's not going to be a chapter and verse that says, thou shalt not watch
rated R.
Yeah. I know what you did last summer because I totally watched that one. That was
never watched that one.
Yeah. There's no verses that say, thou shalt not watch rated R, or don't watch movies that have more than 5 cuss words. It's like, okay, those aren't in there. So
or 1 F-bomb.
Yeah.
Because that's PG-13.
Well, it used to be. I don't know. Maybe it's changed. I think it's
probably.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go find out though. So, all right. So if for you girls, so somebody talks to you about movies, what is generally your response? Like what does the Bible say? What are your convictions? All those things.
I mean, so I've had a lot of kids. They're like, "Did you watch that movie?" And I'm like, "Which movie?" And they're like, "The new one on Netflix. It's a like a horror movie or something." And I'm like, "No, I didn't." And they're like, "You didn't?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't have Netflix." And they're like, "Why wouldn't you have it? There's so many great movies and stuff." And then
great
all the
movies.
I'm like, there's a lot of stuff that I don't agree with in a lot of the movies.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think you should be watching that. I don't like that. I don't like the feeling of watching that and whatnot. So I don't watch it. And they're just like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you ever get treated differently because you're like, no, I don't do that type of stuff.
Sometimes. I mean,
It's
last
like
time
they like try to protect you and they're like, oh, well, they feel convicted around you, which is kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
But
then they'll leave you out of conversation sometimes. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you didn't watch that 13 Reasons Why? Oh, well, Jenny, did you watch this? And so,
They don't know what to talk to you about after that. They're like, so what do you...
okay.
I always like this question. What do you do then? Like, what do you watch? I watch other stuff. But I mean, if you're not watching this, like, there's nothing else you can watch, right? Like, how do you live without horror movies? Pretty easily.
I love
scared
them.
all the
How could you
time.
not?
Yeah, that was always one of those questions for me. Even like not cussing, they're like, "How do you not do that?" I just don't do it.
Set a guard over my mouth like the Bible says to do, but whatever. We'll get into that later.
So you didn't agree. You were saying you didn't agree with some of the stuff in there. Okay. Right.
Do you ever like get worried that some of those relationships will fizzle out because you don't? I mean, like I said, for me, let me rephrase that. Because growing up, we always had movie nights. And so it was basically everybody's going to come to my house and we're going to watch a movie. And because there really wasn't, there wasn't a big standard as far as what we could and what we couldn't watch. It was just, come on over. Thinking back now, I know I had some friends who never came because that was why. Because of the type of movie. So do you ever feel like you're going to get left out of things because of those stances?
Sometimes and sometimes no.
Yeah, but at the same time, being left out of stuff that's like gonna harm you is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Not something we should like crave.
Yeah.
So, like, I have friends that, like, they would want to put on a movie if I was over at their house, and their parents were like, oh, do you want to watch this? And they'd be like, no, Alexa doesn't watch that. Let's watch something else.
Yeah.
And so, like, they would actually stick up and whatnot and, like, care about what I had to say. But some other friends are like, no, you can watch it. Your mom's not here. And I'm like, no, I personally do not want to watch that.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, it's okay. And then it's like, well, are they really true friends at that point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The one that we heard a lot too, I want to hear your thoughts on, would be the phrase of, but I can handle it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Like, oh, you
Yeah.
can't handle it then.
Yeah.
You're weak.
Yeah, I got that one a lot. Oh, you can't handle it? Nope, can't handle it. I remember we were watching a horror movie and some of our friends, and it was just four of us. And I said, I am not watching this anymore. They're like, well, we're going to continue to watch it. I'm like, well, I'm not. They're like, I was like, you got another TV? They're like, well, yeah, like over here. It's like, the Olympics are on. I'll be over here watching the Olympics. You guys can finish watching your horror movie. And they're like, okay. And so I sat in the other room and watched the Olympics because I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
Like, first 5 minutes, freaked out. Not doing it. I'm done. And they were just going, why would you not do it? I was like, that's freaky. I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah. But I feel like that's what they say a lot is, because I think that one particular conversation.
And we were still friends at the end of it. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, cool. All right. Well, then it was a story. It was fun for
Yeah.
them. And I'm like, I ain't watching it. Nope.
One particular conversation I remember you having with somebody, a Christian, a minister, in fact. It was, talking about what movies you should watch. And he's like, I can handle watching bad movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just like, is that what?
Okay.
So is it a mark of can you handle it or can you not? Or is it a mark of maturity when you're like, no, I'm choosing not to handle it?
I guess what you think you can handle, because I'm sure I can handle listening to kids cussing all day, but like it'll end up like being kind of influenced by
seeds in your head.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Wait. You're saying things around you influence you?
No.
What?
Totally
What?
Yeah.
When did anybody else talk about this? No. Oh, okay.
Except for the influencers.
Oh, so I can go to a strip club and stay in there and not do anything because I can handle it and
I
sit
would
there.
kill you. No, I'm just kidding. That was not a threat for people listening.
But that's like the same thing that people are saying. Like, I can go, as a man, I'll go stand in a strip club and won't have any issues.
Yeah.
Like, what? What are you talking about? You're an idiot. You're gonna get pulled in.
Yeah.
Nope. I will stand there and there'd be no problem.
Yeah, or like for the alcoholic saying, I'm going to go to the bar, but I'm not going to
I'm not going to
drink.
drink.
I'm not going to get that drunk.
I can handle it.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
You're still in that atmosphere. You're still putting yourself there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when you get these social drinkers.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and yeah.
That's another conversation for another time, too.
Yes. There's so many things we can go from this.
Yeah.
And this really hits into a lot of different areas. And I think for me, I know a lot of us have gone through and found Bible verses, and we really want to talk about the standard, the manual. So they didn't have movies back then. In the Bible, and this is written from the beginning of humans on this planet to
John in 90 AD, I think.
Yeah.
Ish.
There weren't. Now you had plays.
Mm-hmm.
When the New Testament was being, they had the gladiators, and that could be very gruesome.
Yeah.
You know, they still had slaves. They still had prostitutes. They talk about that in the Old Testament. Prostitutes. This is not any. All these things are not new. It's just now in a different format.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about it, like, well, movies are different. They don't talk about in the Bible. No, but they're still talking about the words that come out of your mouth. They're still talking about the people you're around. So I want you guys, I know you guys have done more actual references to Bible verses than I have. I know, there's one of those, I know the ones that are in the back of my head.
Yeah.
But what are some of the verses that you found that really bring up from the Bible the manual of how do we take this topic of movies and TV, and how do we have the Bible tell us how we should be doing this? So, whoever wants to start, I know on paper you got some written, so have at it.
Me and Alana looked at Philippians 4:8.
Okay.
Do y'all have that pulled up?
We sure do. Philippians 4:8. It says, "And now, dear brothers and sisters, let me say one more thing as I close this letter. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right. Think about things that are pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise." So that's what that one says. That's Philippians 4:8.
Yeah.
And that's by Paul. Writing to a church
Yep.
in
Yep.
Philippi.
Yeah. So, like, fix your thoughts on those things. I mean, I guess, like, what you're thinking about or listening to, or what your source of entertainment does it line up with what's that saying? Is it something completely different?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and just, sometimes people take things to the extreme. It's like, it's not saying that you ignore reality and that you never, I'm not going to learn about the Holocaust because it was not pure and it was not lovely. No, it's not talking about that, but it's, it's talking about the things that you're using for entertainment, that you're dwelling on, that you're thinking on. It's like, no, those things have a standard to it. They need to be pure and lovely and honorable. Those are the things we're supposed to think about. I didn't see where it said bad movies on here.
It didn't?
No.
maybe they cut it out.
Maybe it's just the wrong version.
Yeah. Translation.
Error. No. It didn't say think about violence. It didn't say think about, bad language. It didn't say those things. Not that people always start out saying, today I'm thinking about bad language, all day long. It's like, I know people don't set up thinking that. Which brings up another verse that I think we had mentioned. It's in a couple of different places. I'm going to read the one in Luke chapter 6, verse 45. It says, "A good person produces good deeds from a good heart, and an evil person produces evil deeds from an evil heart." And this is the one that, the part of the verse that really hit me. "Whatever is in your heart determines what you say." So the things that come out of your mouth is what's inside your heart. And I know another version that I think I probably memorized in King James, but just out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So whatever is in your heart is what's going to come out of your mouth.
Yep.
So if you have a lot of bad language coming out of your heart or out of your mouth, well, it's because it's in your heart. Likewise, even if you have a lot of criticism coming out of your mouth, well, guess what's in your heart? You probably have somewhat of a critical spirit going on.
Yeah.
Which is not a spiritual gift.
Well, when you start looking at professional athletes,
Yeah.
like when you look at these soccer stars, baseball, football, one thing that's big about in the college football realm is they almost go to classes together.
Yeah.
Like they are football players. Their number one objective is be a football player. And yes, there's a student. There's an argument about how much they're a student or not. But the thing is, when you're a professional, and this is why a lot of people don't want to go pro in those sports, is they're like, you eat baseball, you think about baseball, you sleep baseball. Everything you do is about baseball. Why? So you can be the best baseball player you can. You never get out of that mode of baseball. They think about it. They talk about it. They dream about it. It is just baseball, 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 baseball. So you can figure out what to do in this situation. But they think on it, and they're constantly putting it in. So what comes out is baseball. Mm-hmm. So what do? It's that same thing. What are you putting into yourself?
Yeah.
Sports, we get to see it very quickly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Even when I was in sports, wrestling, we'd go into the wrestling building. You're putting your shoes on. There was a wrestling video of guys that were better than you, and you're watching their highlights. You're like, why are you doing that? Because you'll see, and so they were pumping it in not just through instruction, but through video. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're like, the more you do this, the better you get. The more time you spend in the practice room, the better you get. Why? Because you keep putting that in. You keep learning about it.
Yeah.
So that comes out of you as well. And I think that's the interesting part. I want to hear more of you girls talk about this, though. If you've got anything to say.
Just what you take in. Like, I mean, we're sponges, basically. And whatever you're just really absorbing is what you're just going to give out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And I think that's a mark of maturity, too, because it's like, the mark of maturity isn't how much you can handle. It's how much like Christ you are. Mm-hmm. What are you going to say, Alana?
I know in the verses talking about like your thoughts need to align with Jesus and stuff. And like y'all said with the scary movies, your thoughts lined up with the scary movie. So whatever you put in, that's what you're going to get. So I think that's definitely something like whatever you watch, you're going to think about it later. You're not just going to brush it off.
Yeah. Yeah. What was I going to say? So what would you say, both of you, what would you say to fellow high school students who are kind of in a position where, A, they don't know what to watch. They don't know where the line is, or they want to see how close they can get to the line without, crossing the line.
Yeah.
What do you say to them? And then secondly, what do you say to the kid who really is having a hard time? Because I know I experienced this when I stopped watching scary movies. It was very much of like a culture shock to the people around me. So then it was like I was afraid of losing friends, and it was hard trying to have that acceptance because it was like, oh well, my friends, they don't invite me places anymore. Yeah. So you can each answer both of those or one or two of them. Okay, so where's the line, and how do you handle it when you don't cross the line and your friends do?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes when, like if I don't have a parent around or anything, but I'm looking for something new to watch because I don't feel like watching Horton Hears a Who or Nemo again. Sometimes it's like I'll watch a trailer or something, but is this something that, like, if Jesus was with me, or if I was in heaven, if I would put this on, like, would everybody want to watch it? Would it be okay if Jesus was in the room, or would he want to watch that with me?
Yeah.
Like, same thing with music, too. Like, would you blast that over the loudspeakers in heaven?
Yeah.
Or you make a joke, would he laugh at that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like same thing.
Say this?
Watching it. And, like, is this something that'll be bad for you? Like, are you watching something that, like, you think you can handle it, but it may, like, trip you up later or something?
Are they going to put seeds inside your head?
Yeah.
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 I mean, you may not even realize it, but it's like, even if something isn't wrong, is it still good? Because, I mean, you could watch something it's not a horror movie, but is it something that's actually good for me to watch?
Yeah.
Or helping me in any way?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts about chick flicks? Because sometimes with those are...
Chick flicks, the love stories.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Is that not a thing anymore? People saying that?
Don't ask me. I'm in your same generation. Huh? Ask them.
Why are they calling me?
Since I just did not know what you're talking about.
I think they just go by a different name now.
Probably so.
Yeah.
We don't watch too many. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, check the rating, I guess.
I mean, I guess more like love stories. I just don't want to throw titles into
I know,
this.
that's...
I feel like you should throw those titles and be like, hey, I better check out that movie. It's like, no, you don't need to check out that movie.
I think something that I noticed with some love story movies is it's hard too because it almost gives you like unrealistic expectations of things, and it's like, well, then you wake up. I mean, obviously we live a love story, baby.
Not us.
Good. You still got a couple years. But you had those almost unrealistic expectations. And I mean, I think that not even just with love stories, but even there's tons of movies with high schoolers and dating and all these things. And I feel like sometimes the expectations that you have going into it are like, oh, that's probably what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait.
Thinking high school is like High School Musical.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch those movies and they're fun and whatnot. Like, they're so interesting. But then once you're there in reality, you're so out of touch.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not.
Alana's not like bursting down the hallway like, here we go.
I always think it's funny, like the perfect guy is this huge, muscular, just like, and it's like, you guys realize you're gonna have to give 2 to 3 hours a day for that guy to go work out in the gym. Then you got to deal with his sweaty clothes, his sweaty gym bag, and then the food that he's gonna eat. I hope you like the smell of tuna. And it's like, that's a nice thought, but I don't know if many women actually want to deal with that. And it's like, well,
and you only see the highlights. You only see the romanticized part of it.
Yeah.
Definitely in movies and stuff, you don't see the real stuff or the bad stuff.
Yeah. It's like they may be a little self-focused too. Just a thought.
A little bit.
Hey, babe, my bicep big enough yet? Like, I don't care about your bicep. Go pick up some clothes instead of the weights. Pick up your gym shorts out of the bathroom.
I feel like that should be coming from me, not from you. So I think that's kind of funny.
These are always the thoughts that go through my head.
So much.
Well, these are the thoughts that go through my head because, of course, as a guy, that's what you're being pumped into. You're supposed to be 6-pack abs, and it's like, wow.
I mean,
my wife's gonna be mad at me if I spend 2 hours in the gym.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't happening, guys.
That also goes with like what you're watching and like what's popular, what's the new biggest thing, what's the standard for what you should look like now. And like if you're watching that, you're gonna come influenced that, and then you'll be degrading yourself because you don't look like Kim K on a movie or something. It's like it's out of reality. Like, does that actually matter? Is that
like it's their job though to look like that? And I think that's it's they're not chasing kids around all day. They're not going to high school. They're not dealing with homework and all these other things. It's like it's their job to look the way that they look, and they have a team of professionals helping to make sure they make
it. Sometimes the movie will actually hire them. Like for one of the Superman movies, watching behind the scenes, it was for 6 months. They had personal trainers. They had dietitians, and all the actors that needed to look big and buff had those people. Yeah. And it was like, this is what you're going to eat. This is what you're going to do. You're going to be in the gym for 2 hours a day. You're going to do this. And they're like, they were handed a program. This is how you bulk up.
Yeah.
Go. And if you don't do this, you're not going to have this part.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a couple $1 million, so... What would you like me to?
By all means,
So that's
broccoli, chicken, and rice. Here I come.
Yeah. So it is a fantasy. World.
So what do you say to the student who's thinking I could be losing friends or nobody else cares around me? So why should I care?
Well, because Jesus cared, number one, and number two, we should have the mind of Christ. And if you're already thinking like that, that's a no.
Yeah.
Would they even be your friend?
It depends. Like if that's the only thing you're friends with the person is, it's because you guys go watch horror movies together. Maybe there's some other ground y'all should be friends on. But
but what if there's not? What if say your best friend is like your only friend, and then they're saying, hey, if you're not into it, then
I think sometimes it's like well, if that's it, you just gotta trust the Lord on this one, and maybe you will end that friendship. Maybe that friendship will end. But if you're trying to follow what the Lord does, I think He'll provide other friends for you to help you stay on that
and better
course.
friends. You don't have to settle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to settle for the worst.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying that even if it means maybe being alone for a little bit, it's still okay to
That's
stand
okay,
up for the right thing
For sure.
to do. Which is weird because everybody focuses now on relationships. You know, like, oh, you have to have relationships. Be connected.
I've been there.
Friends
Yeah.
and stuff.
But I think...
Well, except for the last year.
well, yeah, that's right.
Be alone! Be alone! Lock yourself in a room!
But it's that realization, though, that having the right relationships are more important than having like wrong relationships.
A connection like that.
Yeah.
Every Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like if you have the wrong type of relationships based off the wrong type of things, it's like, well, yeah, then that's kind of the foundation's going to start crumbling, and you're going to go that way, the wrong way. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily like bad people.
Yeah. I mean, because I have friends that are known as like good people and whatnot, but I mean they watch certain things that I would never watch. But they're not bad people.
It's because they can handle it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't like really convicted about the movies I watched until I was in high school. But then once I was really convicted about it, because things were happening, it was just like, oh, okay, I'm not watching any more scary movies. No, it's not, one of those things that was not happening after I felt convicted about it.
Yeah.
But I think, too, if I really understood more even though I knew what the Bible said, like, I never connected it to movies. It was always just, oh, yeah, the Bible says these things. Okay. But it was never, like, I never connected it to movies or any type of entertainment.
Yeah.
I think if I would have done that earlier, it would have been a lot easier to see, like, oh, okay, well... the Bible talks about having the mind of Christ, which is a good verse that Alana brought up. It talks about dwelling on the things that are pure and holy and things that are a good report. It talks about out of the abundance of your heart, the mouth speaks. So what am I putting in? What am I doing with myself? I think it would have been a lot easier earlier to be like, oh, okay, no, I need to take a step back and take a look at what I'm putting in.
Yep.
Because that whole time I was watching scary movies, I was wake up first thing in the morning. I would spend time praying. I would spend time reading my Bible. I was, at church, my Baptist church growing up, raising my hand, which even for that church was like, you raise your hands.
Yeah.
But, so it was still like, oh, best Christian character award. But yeah, when it came to entertainment, I felt like it was a different person. There was a completely different standard.
Yeah.
So I think it's just really a knowledge getting out there of like, hey, no, what you watch does matter. It doesn't just sit in your head while you're watching it and then just you forget about it. That may work like in math class, but with movies, it don't work that way.
No, it doesn't. Which I do think it's interesting because they're still saying, well, kids shouldn't play video games because they're too violent. You don't ever hear anything about that for movies.
Not much, no.
It's true.
They're like, kids are shooting up schools because, well, they're these violent video games. And it's like, why don't we talk about movies?
Yeah.
It's the only thing they're being influenced by.
Yeah, it's like, there's some really horrible movies that are torturing and they celebrate that. And you don't think that's affecting kids?
Yeah.
Like, there was this whole show going around, and it was all about suicide and whatnot, and it was trending. And everybody watched all of it, and the season's coming out, and I was like, why do you watch that? And they're like, I don't know, it's so bad, but it's so interesting, and I like to watch it.
It's bad, but it's good. No.
And I was like,
no, it's just bad.
I was like, no, I do not watch it because it's bad. Like, the title of it, like, just screams, and they're just like, you're right.
Yeah, I always liked the one.
Wait for season 2.
Watch it.
It's bad, but it's funny.
Yeah.
It's like, just because it's funny doesn't mean that I'm going to go watch it.
It's got this one actor in there, like, just watch it for that actor.
Yeah. That's not a good thing
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, I think we need to wrap it up.
Alrighty.
I just lost totally what I was going to say.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say one thing real quick.
Go right ahead.
Because this has come from some stuff that we have dealt with. But the thing about, like, especially watching it for one actor, we have had to turn movies off because Johnny's like, hey, back when I was addicted to porn, that person got their start in porn. And so for him, it was almost like a trigger point because it was like, oh, that guy or that girl. And so it's like, change it.
Yeah.
And it was almost, I feel like really, it was just kind of disgusting to me how many times he was like, hey, yeah, that person too. Like, really?
Yeah, even just normal TV.
Yeah, and this wasn't, these were like network shows that were normal, and it's just like, oh, they got their start in porn. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, some you would never expect. And you're like, really? Well, they were trying to get their start. Yeah. They didn't have much money. But somebody'd give them a part here.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would. Yeah. So
I think ultimately it kind of comes down to, just to knowing what the Bible says and being not being afraid to stand up for it. So, wrapping up, what you got to say?
I always think, what would Jesus watch? What would Jesus do? What is his mind? Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to follow him. And
we're supposed to become like Jesus. He tells us to be holy like that, And I wouldn't be putting things in that would be harmful in any way, And like you were saying, like certain things you turn off just because there's that certain person.
Yeah.
But maybe for somebody else, like they wouldn't have realized it, or they just wouldn't have. And so it's almost like a personal conviction too. Because there are a lot of things that I know, like other friends and whatnot, that are Christian. They're like, oh, well, we watch that, and I'm like, well, we personally cannot watch that because of something in our family.
Yeah.
And that's something that we know Jesus like told us, like we just can't watch that. But for other families, it hasn't affected them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have one more question. Are you ladies able to survive without R-rated movies, PG-13 movies, Netflix shows? Can you survive? Have you made it? Are you socially awkward now? Did your social skills get not up to par? How's your pop culture
I do
trivia?
Those questions in trivia, though.
Oh yeah, a lot of things will be trending and whatnot. And they're like, you don't listen to that person. No, you don't watch that. No,
which is fine.
Does it affect you really bad, or are you able to? Can you drive a car?
I'm not gonna go cry about it, but sometimes it gets a little awkward. But I'm like, okay, you may not understand what's really happening, so I'm not gonna be like try to fix that and go watch it or whatnot just to be able to fit in like that.
Yeah.
Because I know the consequences. Like, we will play, like, trivia sometimes in classes, and it's all songs, new songs and whatnot, and they're like, Alexa, it's your turn, and I just have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
And it's so awkward, and sometimes it's a little embarrassing, but I'm like, actually, it's better if I don't.
Yeah.
I know it's better if I don't.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, too, because...
So what, do you like music, then?
Oh, yeah.
Do you listen to music? Can you find any music to listen to?
There's nothing out there.
Like,
Can you?
Standing in front of the closet, I have nothing to wear.
Are you guys able to?
Yeah, I listen to music a lot more than some of my friends. I mean, the music Alana listens to is really what she hears me play and stuff. Yeah. I mean...
I don't listen. What do you watch? Do you own a TV?
I do. Yeah, we do. We watch a lot of good stuff. I mean, we don't watch as much anymore, but just...
Which isn't bad either. Like we said earlier, it's like it's kind of good to actually be grounded in reality.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to ignore it.
Other important question. Can you still talk to other people? Is that do you have anything to talk to them about?
Well, since I don't watch scary movies, I can't read, so...
Oh. That had a negative impact somewhere.
Yeah.
Gosh.
She can write.
Sorry, guys.
She can write, but she can't read what she wrote. That's...
No, I don't think there's any horribly traumatic losses that I've ever had from it.
No, I mean, watching bad stuff, it's just gonna, like, negatively influence you, so why do it?
Maybe it was kind of an awkward conversation that I just said no and could not relate at all. Yeah. But that was it. Nothing else ever came from that. Like, it was just one awkward conversation, that was it.
At the end of the day, since we haven't watched scary movies, we're not going to be like, the closet, you know.
Yeah.
And which is a way easier way to go rather than thinking, what's behind every corner, every shower curtain, every...
And I have friends and they tell me about that and they're like, oh, I don't do that, I can't do that. And a lot of things that they will not walk in the dark. They won't do a ton of things. Yeah. And I'm like, well, don't you think it's because you watch all those movies? And they're like, yeah, probably. But they're still going to do it. And they're still scared half to death to, like, walk in the room in the dark. And I'm like...
So if they know it affects them like that, why do you think that they're just so easy to jump back into it?
I think it's because they like that feeling of just like,
Yeah. They like that feeling. And sometimes a lot of kids, like... I'm like, well, I don't think I should be putting that like stuff in me, and they're like, really? Like, I don't think some kids like really have not heard any set of rules or anything, and they just haven't thought about it too much. That maybe if it's bad for me, I shouldn't keep doing it.
Yeah. The whole thing of what I want rules sometimes.
And whatever makes you feel good, you do it.
Well, that's the standard, right? Whatever feels right.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we've gotten to the point where we know you guys can still function as human beings. Have you guys ever heard a comedian?
Yes.
Do you guys laugh?
You
can do that without cussing.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So today, guys, we've talked with our nieces about movies and other things that we're putting in. And we really just wanted to point out that you can still live, you can still survive. Do you sometimes have to walk out of some things, turn some stuff off? Yeah. Yes. Is it a bad thing? No. No, it's really not. There's still things that we don't want our kids to watch because they're 7, the oldest. But there's most of the time the kids can walk in on what my wife and I are watching, and it'd be perfectly okay. But there's just some stuff that's just not age appropriate yet. Yeah.
Like we watched the thing about that guy that got shot down and Unbroken.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little too just heavily dramatic.
And it's a historical.
We're not going to show them Saving Private Ryan.
No.
But we still want them to know what war is.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best representation. But we're not going to show that to them.
Yeah.
We're not going to show them just a lot of the stuff about World War II.
Yeah.
There's some things we're just not going to show them.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah, not yet. We will because at time they need to know about these things so they don't do the same mistakes.
They had a great-grandfather in that war, so that's...
we want to show them sort of what he went through. But ultimately, you're not going to be a weirdo. No. You may have an awkward conversation of, hey, we don't do that. Oh, okay. And then maybe quiet, and what do you do?
But one thing I will say is that I have more respect for people who know what their standards are and are willing to stand up for it and to walk out if that means they need to walk out or to, to do whatever. I have more respect for people who do that rather than people who are like, oh, I'm just going to go along with it even though I know I'm not supposed to do this. Or, there have been times in our house where we've watched shows where there wasn't really anything intrinsically wrong with it, but we both had that feeling like we shouldn't watch this.
Yep.
We know that was the Holy Spirit basically letting us know. Some people might call it, I have a check in my spirit, but it's basically just that hesitation of like, I don't know if I should be watching that. Like if you had that is a definite sign of, go ahead and turn it off. You'd rather err on the side of caution and turn it off rather than ignore that. And like I said, I have so much respect for people who can stand up for what they believe in and be like, no, I'm not going to do it, even if it means maybe you don't have the same friends, or maybe you don't have any friends for a little bit. It's like, it's the end of the day, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So really we just think of it as the Bible talks about what you're putting in your body. Most of the time we hear this more in the food realm. What you're putting in you, that's fuels you. A big athlete or something, normally he eats differently than a non-athlete. And you just accept that. You don't take him to the all-you-can-eat buffet because he's like, no, I need these certain foods, especially pro athletes. But the Bible is telling us, watch what you're doing with your body, what you're putting in. Your eyes are your eye gates. You decide what goes through your eyes into your body because that will come out. And you're not going to be the weirdo. You may have some awkward conversations, but it's ultimately, what are you going to do with your life? Are you going to fill it with a lot of stuff you don't need? Or are you going to put fantasy in your world? Or are you going to put real life into your world, or into your body? And so that's what we wanted to talk about today. I think we've got it from about every angle. We've had some laughs. And anybody want to say anything else, or am I going to wrap this up?
Okay. Go ahead. Okay.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us. If you made it to the end, we hope you will join us another time as we bring another topic up, the 30-something generations and the high school generation of today, about how the world has changed, how it's adjusted, and how do we do it as Christians navigating this world.
Yep. That's all.
See you guys.
Oh, I forgot we were recording over there too.